So, good evening. It is Yaptress again. I'm in a great mood today. I just finished exercising and I've just been on LSA a lot and just, getting to know some of the faces that I see in the form and just really sitting in my feminine right now. And I'm really excited to read the chart that I was given today. This is Sim. I'm just going to refer to her as that. And I have been tasked, and if you hear me clicking around, it's because I'm looking at her chart. I have been tasked with giving a reading. And since this is my apology tour, I'm going to do 4 free complete readings. And I'm not going to put a marker on when this video ends because I'm just trying to hit all of the vibes that I'm feeling, if you will. I don't typically script anything, and so if you hear me taking pauses, it's probably because I'm thinking. And although I get this excited feeling when I view this individual's chart. So starting off, she wanted me, let's see if I could see what she wanted me to talk about. Obviously going to conceal birth time and date, but I will show you there's the general chart and what I'm reading aspect wise. So she wanted to know about finances. She wanted to know about situationships, and she wanted to know about career. She said that her career is going well, so my brain immediately goes to 10th house, and I start to look at the way that her 10th house might be transiting. As for now, let's look at the birth chart and just see what my initial interpretations are of just her birth chart. So right off the bat, we're talking about finances. So we have one of the worst places for finances, but not in a way that is untenable. Moon in Sagittarius in 2nd house. Your moon, your emotion, I'm also a Sagittarius moon. Now it's in the 4th house, so it's a little different. But moon in Sagittarius 2nd house. Let's think about what the 2nd house is. The 2nd house is the house of talent. It's also the house of wealth and the house of connections with other people, considering how you use social status. So things like currency also interact greatly with the 2nd house, right? I think that based on, the mythos of Sagittarius, Sagittarius was the traveling flame. Sagittarius was that guy. He liked to roam all over and shoot his arrow wherever he pleased. And whatever it shot was what he set his mind on. Nomadic, right? So having the nomad in your 2nd house means that you are probably someone that doesn't like to plan financially. Like, you hear the word budget and you feel uncomfortable with it. The question of will you dig your way out of it? Let's look at what is interacting with the 2nd house. What is the aspecting with Sagittarius? And that would tell us how in your chart you would tackle that energy of nomadic finances that get out of hand, finances that run away, right? Quickly, like a horse would, like Sagittarius would. So let's talk about restriction. I'm going to look at your Saturn next. So you also happen to have the best Saturn placements for the 2nd house. Did you know that? You've got the leader of the 10th house, Capricorn, the zodiac that is lord over the 10th house of social status and career. You've got him in the 2nd house. You've also got Uranus in the 2nd house in Capricorn. And ultimately, you have Capricorn and Neptune in the 2nd house as well. So while your finances emotionally, you're an emotional spender. Moon Sagittarius in 2nd house is an emotional spender. You probably, after suffering something bad in your life and feeling like you, based on your Jupiter Cancer in 8th, like the people around you might not be the best people to have around you. We'll get into that later. But you're an emotional spender. And so having the father of restriction planet, Saturn, in the house of the career, second house, means that despite the problems that you're seeing, you will always have a job. You will always have a job. And you'll always have a job that pays more than enough for you to be comfortable. So I would say that you can get the spending under control, especially being that, the only placement that would make it an issue is that Sagittarius second. You've got Mercury in Virgo, which is likely also why you're reaching out to people. You have Mercury in Virgo in the 11th house, means you are amazing at analyzing the way that you think and connecting to other people and how they think. The 11th house is the house of friends. So I can tell that this message is extremely important for you today. And I want you to know, you can do it. You quite literally have some of the best astrology that I've seen for getting your shit together. And I'm really excited about your chart. Further, you were asking about, what else do we have? You were asking about your future romantically, right? So stepping aside from the 10th house and the second house and your finances and all of this stuff, let's get into who helps you astrologically decide your romantic life. Venus in first house Scorpio. That's number 1. Mars in 11th house Libra. So in terms of what that looks like to me initially, Venus and Scorpio, let's talk about the Scorpionic energy. Scorpionic energy. That's very 8th house. So surrounded by, the deeper, more intimate sides. When we think about who Scorpio is, we think about intimacy. We think about growing old together. We think about feeling comfortable in the dark with someone. You right now, having that in your first house, at least in your natal chart, your birth chart. So these are your natal chart is what you are drawn towards, not necessarily what you are presented with by the environment, by the astrological environment. If you want to know day to day what that looks like, you would look at your transits, which we can do way later on just later on in this channel, I'll do that. But I'm still a baby at this, so this is just my immediate interpretation. I literally opened your chart and I'm just existentially dumping what I feel about it. And yeah, I hope that this is good and that this is actually accurate for you. But anyway, getting back to your romantic life, Venus, Scorpio, first house. So you are hell-bent on finding someone that you can grow old with. And I think that, and we're going to pull up the synastry, right, of the partner that you're discussing. You have been in a situationship, but you've reached an impasse. You're not sure if you want to let go or wait it out. And, Scorpionic energy is the idea that you aren't sure if you want a sudden rebirth of how you feel or if you want to suddenly kill the relationship. Like the 8th house is also about death. So killing that relationship, being that this Venus is in the first house, right? I notice that you likely have a tendency to feeling like you become the relationship. I don't know if that's true. But Venus, Scorpio, first house, you create a part of yourself based off of those relationships. And so having that energy there, it can be painful. It can be extremely painful. But I will tell you something. Your Venus, babe, is in the first house. You're beautiful. You are beautiful. You're beautiful, and a lot of people know that. So my advice astrologically would just be to put yourself out there. Babe, you're a Sagittarius moon. You are nomadic and beautiful. You have nothing to worry about. If you were to actually succumb to Scorpio here and to release that part of yourself that wants to stay in that relationship and to fuel that part of yourself that wants to rebirth how you're interacting with that person, that partner you're describing, then you can easily do it, right? Let's talk about your rising sign. The ascendant that you have is Scorpio. So let's go back to all of the placements that we just talked about. You are a Scorpio Venus. You also have Pluto Scorpio in the 12th house. And you also are a Scorpio rising. This would fuel your Sagittarius moon a lot. This would fuel your emotions wanting to run away from themselves. And I think that based on how you feel day to day, really just start journaling, perhaps. I found that in myself, journaling as a Sagittarius moon is incredibly powerful, right? Because it leads to us being able to compartmentalize the way that we think about things and to quell a little bit of the nomad inside of us all, right? You having Mercury in Virgo is very similar to me having my Venus in Virgo in first house. You have the domicile sign of Mercury in the 11th house. So you are incredibly perceptive when it comes to how you interact with other people. And I think that journaling about this day to day could really help. And I'm really excited about this because I feel like you'll identify with this. And I could be completely wrong. Again, I'm new at astrology, but I don't think I am. Let's look into how we could better that, right? So that moon we were just talking about, it actually squares your Mercury. So this actually means that you probably also have problems with remembering how people affect you day to day. We're Sagittarius moons. If someone pisses us off, we'll run away. We'll run away and not bother. We won't care. It'll still hurt. But you are probably the type that you get pissed off and you'll just buy something. You'll just find anything else to remind you that you are your own person. You don't really hold grudges, it seems, you know? And that's actually really healthy, except for when you get into what your soul is wanting to do in this life. Let's get into your node, your north node, right? So the north node in astrology lets us know your current karmic destiny. And that, ma'am, is family, and it's in retrograde, and it is to feel comfortable and safe. In Aquarius, your north node, to me, defines your need in this life to find stability and to clarify your relationships with others, right? North node, Aquarius, 4th house in retrograde. Aquarius is the leader of the 11th house. The 11th house is the house of friends. You are destined to find stability. And it can be an uncomfortable thing for ladies like us that have that Sagittarius moon. So assuming that that is something that we have and that it could be related to something that we perhaps did not do in a past life, I would take a look at where the south node is, because the south node lets us know what we did in a past life, right? And just like mine, your south node, or we're flipped actually, my north node is in Leo and my south node is in Aquarius. But your south node is in Leo and your north node is in Aquarius. So here, that south node in retrograde lets us know that you have to be fixed here. You were fixed previously, and by fixed I mean fixed signs. So you have your fixed signs, you have your mutable signs. Leo is one of the most fixed signs. It's the sun, very set in its ways. So in your last life, you were set in your ways and you felt very comfortable with your status. South node, Leo, retrograde, 10th house. Right? You were fixed in your ways and felt comfortable with your status. However, this time around, right? You sense some insecurity in that. And that's okay. That is 100% okay. And that this incarnation of yours is likely why that moon is in Sagittarius, because it's uncomfortable for us, you know? Having that North Node there, however, means that you've got to find stability. And so let's look at where you would find a drive to do that. Let's talk about your Mars. Your Mars is Libra, 11th house. Think about what your North Node says. Your North Node is in Aquarius, 4th house. It's driving you in this life to close your karmic circle by finding the visions of your perfect found family. Aquarius, 4th house, North Node. Your Mars is also driving you to seek that out. Mars is the planet of sexual aggression, but also just drive and virility to find things, to fight. It's the masculine energy inside of everyone. Your Mars is in Libra. Libra, the sign of balance. And do you know what house it's in? It's in the 11th house, the house of friends, and Aquarius's house. So your Mars is teaming up with your North Node to find you that stability in other people. The Scorpio side of your personality that we talked about earlier can make it seem like you are expecting too much from the people that are close to you. And I'm sure that you've heard before that you are intimidating. How can I tell? Well, if you've got that Venus there, right, you're already beautiful, right? If you've got Scorpio in there, in addition to that, it's beauty with a very femme fatale, a very femme fatale bend in the first house, the house of self. And so I think that with your chart, moreover with your chart, I noticed that you actually also have Venus in Scorpio first house squaring your node. So that beauty of yours and that intimidation that other people, men, can feel can actually make it harder to find that found family. And I don't know who the partner is now. You did give me the information to run Synastry, but I just haven't as yet, and I might not have time in this video. Just because I have other things after this. And this is going to actually be a much longer video than I initially anticipated. But yeah, I do also see, however, that it's sextile with Mercury. And so I think having the domicile leader of Mercury, Virgo, in your 11th house, combined with the Martian seeking of Libra, wanting balance in the 11th house, combined with you have 11th house sun, so you have multiple ways that your astrology is telling you to find balance in the comfort of other people, right? Lots of Libra here, lots of seeking balance here, and your North Node is also very, very keen on having you find that. That Venus squaring up with the node is a problem. And I think that really letting yourself feel comfortable in slowing down and honestly just feeling a little bit in the 12th, introspecting, letting the beautiful trine that Pluto has with Jupiter that also seeks out that scorpionic energy, right, from the 8th house, letting yourself be calm and write and journal and do all of these things that kind of take you out of the immediate vicinity of people that see you and see your beauty might make it a little easier to process mentally. But you're a man killer. You have no problems there. I love it. Quell Sagittarius's need to run. Make sure that you are taking the time to let yourself breathe. Write. Learn about yourself. Go inwards. listen to Pluto here. You're aspecting with Pluto, which is, your Pluto is another Scorpio, which it's basically domicile for Pluto to have Scorpio. And in the 12th house, the house of Pisces, the house of spirituality. So part of you knows that it has to calm down, that it has to take time to retreat inwards, and that it has to write. It has to, and it doesn't have to be writing, right? I associate 12th house with a lot of that because it's one of the more personal and introspective things that you can do to review what you want to do with your life. That's what the 12th house is kind of about, especially for me. Your Pluto works extremely well with Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet of social expansion, and that Jupiter, right, is in the 4th house. This narrative of you needing to spread out and found family is extremely important for you. And you have Jupiter trine Pluto. It's harmonious. I think you know what you need to do. And while I can't make the decision for you, I want you to know that you can do it. Charts like this make me kind of tear up a little bit because I can tell how uncomfortable it can be to have a sun in Libra and feel like you are the hub in your friend group where everyone knows you. You are able to balance out other people. Libra, Sun, 11th house, house of friends, right? But that you're running from something, Moon, Sagittarius, 2nd house, and that you use money in order to do that. But that it doesn't really bother you. You have no problem making money. Saturn, Capricorn, 2nd house. That you don't mind changes of job either. Uranus, Capricorn, 2nd house. And that you are already on your way to do your dreams in terms of work. That you have no problem reaching your dreams. Neptune, Capricorn, 2nd house. Right. So what I would recommend based on this chart, right, is to give yourself space, to give yourself time. And that if nothing else, the head on your shoulders is one of the strongest things that you have. And that you know this, and letting that guy or whatever other guy come to you after you have taken the time to self-introspect about what you want is the best thing. Your Mars lets you seek balance in other people's comfort and in social situations. Your Venus is a Scorpion that strikes immediately into other people's attraction and their lives. And I think that letting yourself take the time to just chill out and let the house of friends, all these 11th house placements that you have, to let them do that work for you, I think you'll be golden. Also, before I head out, make sure to actually finish all the lists that you've made. I know you have 10,000 of them. Let me be an astrological bully for a second. You've got 10,000 lists, and you have the ability to create more balance in your life by actually making sure that you can reach out to other people to delegate for help. Please do that, babe. Please do that. Please. Stop doing it all alone. I want you to take a look. Take a look at your Lilith. You know, the Lilith that is in Libra in 12th house. And I want you to beat it up. You literally need to start asking for help. You have got more than a lot of other charts that I've seen. You have that 11th house bend. People like you naturally. Please start actually using that. Your Chiron is in Cancer. And I misspoke earlier and said that your Jupiter was in the 4th house. I meant that your Jupiter is in Cancer. right? Which is ruled by the fourth house, or rather rules over the fourth house. So your unhealable energy is your family, and that's why your spirit is wanting to find so many other friends and found family, and that's healthy. But until you start actually relying on other people, it will be a lot harder to do that. You've got the looks, you've got the personality that attracts other people. Please, please actually use it. Yep, the pep talk. I really enjoyed reading your chart, and I hope that you like it.